Hi, Siri. I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning, a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out. International Diamond Center. Gators win last night at Oklahoma. Terrible crowd for Oklahoma. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Alabama comes from behind. I do not know who won. Buckyball blew a big lead in Tennessee. I don't know who won the Tennessee A&M game. I'll have to check and see.
Tennessee won.
God dang it.
They won by 5.
I love watching A&M play. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Down.
Well, okay, right. We should be all feeling great. All of you who took the Gators with me last night are a little bit fatter and happier. And, of course, the night before, we loaded up on the Houston Texans, or here they are, right here. So you're happy about that. And, I think tomorrow when we crank up Win with JC at 8:30, we're just going to lead into a big weekend of football to try to maximize your life and profits, as well as whatever look-ahead line that's available in college basketball. Thursday's kind of a tough day. I may have to make some adjustments on that because there aren't any real good conference games on Thursdays. It's typically Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So last night in the SEC, Tennessee was trailing Texas A&M by 4 in the second half, pulled it out by 5 in double overtime. We also had about 33 people in Norman, Oklahoma to watch their home team get blown out by Boogie Flan in that massive front court of the Florida Fighting Gators. QB, I think Alabama pretty much led Mississippi State the whole night. They didn't.
They were losing at halftime.
Well, in the second half, they were clearly ahead and really not threatened. That game was, a 14-point game, something like that. And then, in hockey, I know you guys are getting excited about me talking more about hockey in the wintertime here because it is January, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, your Tampa Bay Lightning, have won 11 games in a row, and they won last night in a shootout over Pittsburgh for their 11th consecutive win. They've won 3 straight road games in the state of Pennsylvania. They played the Flyers twice in 3 days in Philadelphia for some silly scheduling thing, and then they played Pittsburgh last night. So with all that going on, the Gators signing all these great players in the transfer portal, the basketball team finding its footing. Everybody's got a lot of reasons to be excited unless you live in Jacksonville and you're still trying to get over that heartbreaking loss to the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, it's all good, brother.
I think they're over it.
I don't know.
You know what else starts tomorrow, JC?
Tell me.
The PGA Tour.
Okay, and it's at the Sony Open in Hawaii.
Yeah. Would you like to do some picks later in the program today?
I mean, I sure.
Get your notebook out. You're going to keep track. Get your notebook out.
Get my notebook. Okay.
Franklin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Brian Taylor went to the portal. Yes, he did.
Who is that?
He's a backup defensive lineman.
Okay. I'm glad we got that out there. I just think that Florida, I would focus mostly on the guys coming than the ones.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Happens at every school, I guess. And then, QB, we're still waiting to try to find a spot where we can take the Miami Hurricanes to like, where would you take Miami against Indiana on Monday night? The line keeps going up. In some places, it's gone up to 9. That's a lot, man. That is just it's not necessarily disrespectful for Miami in my mind. It's more about how great everybody thinks this Indiana team is. And I see why they think that after the last 2 games they've played. But people forget this team was literally seconds from losing at Penn State and Iowa. Okay, so unless something's changed, that I can't figure out, or that nobody's figure out. Miami has no chance in this game, and I think that's just that is. I think that can get you in trouble if you bet on the game. I think Miami at home in that stadium, in that environment, catching almost 10 points is you almost have to take that.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was up to 9 or whatever you just
Well,
said.
I mean, it's fluctuating between 7.5 and 9, but there are places in Las Vegas, there are different places that have these 1.5 point variances, and I think that's amazing to me in a championship final. Wow, that's a lot.
Reggie on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, says UF in the running for Jordan Seaton. Are we willing to spend $3 to $4 million for a lineman? No, we are not. We're not going to spend.
What are you going to spend $3 or $4 million on? A quarterback, maybe a wide receiver? I mean, what do you spend that kind of money on? A quarterback?
Well, we're not spending that kind of money on an individual player. I know that.
Okay.
No, how about Brooks Koepka back in the PGA Tour, Brooks?
I like that, and I think he's going to resuscitate his career. I mean, he just basically took $100 million vacation over the course of 4 years or however long it's been. I don't think he's lost his edge or his game at all. I think he's lost his ability to be in an environment where it's actually competitive, and he wants that back desperately. He wants to be more relevant. He wants to be home, and I think that's great for him. And I think that the PGA Tour is much better off for it because this is a 5-time major winner and a guy which ones has he not won? He hasn't won the Masters and he hasn't won the British. So he's won the PGA and the US Open, and he's won either one of those 5 times. And I think he's capable of winning the Masters. I really do. I think this guy can destroy Augusta National if his game is sharp. His game is sharp if he's competing against the best in the world. The best in the world is on the PGA Tour. I don't care what caddy or what analyst says otherwise. That's what I believe, and I'll continue to believe.
I think DeChambeau will be back next year. I think he's under contract through 2026. I think he'll be back. Aren't they having to pay like a bunch of fines, or they're not just coming back for free?
If you breach contract, you just give back what you owe.
No. I'm talking about to be accepted back on the PGA Tour. They're having to pay a lot of money to charities. They're having to pay fines. I should have known all this, but I don't have it. I thought you would know this, JC. This kind of stuff you sit around on the couch.
Well, no, I don't worry about what fines people pay. I worry about where they play. And
right, but I'm talking about it's quite a bit of money that Koepka is having to pay to be able to come back to the PGA Tour.
To the PGA Tour?
Yeah, a lot.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's a problem. You see what he got paid by the Saudi.
No, I don't think it's a problem either.
Right.
It goes to show you that the live is just dumb.
Well, you and I have been on the same page with this for how many years now? It's just a non-competitive fun scrimmage league. And I will tell you right now, QB, I have never watched a live event. Now, maybe I'm missing out on something, and it could be, but I don't feel like it. And every time I watch golf, and everywhere I go to watch golf, whether it's in a someone else's country club or a restaurant or my country club or wherever I go, it's always the PGA. The Live has always had problems with distribution, and I don't get up at 4:00 in the morning to watch something on the DP World Tour out in Shanghai. I don't watch that. I just don't watch it. So I don't think anybody watches it.
Yeah, MSRK on YouTube says he's got to pay back like $5 million. I think it's $5 million, and then other stuff. Yes, that's a little bit. $5 million is nothing to him.
That is chicken scratch.
Yeah, but I think there's more to it than that. I'm not 100% sure. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. All right, get a couple of texts here on the Titan War text line. If they'll pop up. Gator Josh from Wild Mama says college football is no longer recruit and rebuild, it's recruit, retain, and rebuild. Yeah, I honestly, in today's world, JC, the way it is,
yeah,
I know you got to sign high school kids, but there's really no reason to.
I agree. These kids are what, 16, 17 years old? What are we doing? Why are we?
Well, they're more than that. Most of them are probably 19 because they were redshirted at some point throughout their high school career.
Redshirted?
meaning they didn't have great grades, so they had to redo another year.
Okay.
Usually, I mean, I was very young when I stepped on campus. I was 17,
Yeah.
but I had a lot of teammates where they were 19 as freshmen.
Okay. Well, I see what you're saying. Well, I guess as we professionalize college sports here as we go with the way it's being run. I'm just trying my best to focus on what happens on the field, but you can't ignore what's happening off the field, because that's how you decide whether or not you're going to have a chance to win during the year, I guess, because you got to have players.
Yeah. Joseph on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, says, thoughts on Mike Tomlin stepping down. Does he coach again? I think he does coach again. I don't think he'll coach next year. He'll probably be, a TV guy in some capacity, but I think he gets back into it the next year.
Yeah.
He's
19
young.
years.
I think he's my age.
Okay. Yeah. Mid-50s. Well, 19 years in Pittsburgh is it's a great tenure. It's I think the Steelers have had three coaches in their history? Literally three coaches. So they don't turn over that position. He won a Super Bowl because he was very fortunate with Roethlisberger, and I think it was Mike Wallace making a miracle catch to beat the Cardinals. And then he lost in the Super Bowl, I think. But he's really had a bad playoff record. He is way below 500 in the playoffs. And I think the Steelers have lost in the first playoff game they've played 7 straight years. So they have completely fallen off the playoff ledge. And this game, we watched these guys right here just being unbelievable on the defensive side of the ball. And in spite of CJ Stroud, Houston has a chance. He did not, he turns the ball over. He's having trouble with that. I think I mentioned it on Monday. He's not playing his best, but the defense is so damn good, and they're so opportunistic and aggressive. I think New England's going to have a lot of problems with them, even with Drake May. But it's hard to see somebody beating New England in Foxborough, but it could happen. Texas.
Ryan asked on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum. Shane, what do you think the Vegas win total will be for Gators next fall?
8.
Great question. I haven't even looked at our schedule.
8.
I like 8. I don't even know what it is. I'll say 8.
8. The schedule's easier. They don't have what they've had to deal with the last 2 years, anything remotely like that. I don't think LSU is on the schedule next year either. And not that LSU is anything spectacular, but it's always physical, and it's always difficult for Florida when they play LSU, and for LSU when they play Florida. So that I don't think that game's on the schedule. I think we should know this, QB, but we talk about so many other things in great depth and detail. It's sometimes hard to pull up the exact facts of what some school schedule is, but I don't think LSU's on the schedule next year, and I think the schedule is completely revamped and much easier for Florida and for a new coach and a new roster. And so I'm going with 8 because I think Florida's going to win the games with this coach that they should win, unlike that bum we had here before. So that's what I see happening, and that means 8. 8-4 is going to get you excited, and then the following year maybe it gets even better than that, and they get to 10 wins. You just got to be optimistic if you're going to start with a new coach and a new outlook. So you can't be Debbie Downer. You got to be excited about it. They will feed off that enthusiasm. Nobody's better than these Florida fans supporting this team. Look at what they showed up last year in spite of a 4-8 record. I just think it's amazing the rally that these fans give this football program, and I think that's going to feed itself next year. Yeah.
Bill says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, QB, lose that shirt. What's wrong with my hoodie? Nothing's wrong with my hoodie. I'm just looking at the screen. It looks like it's tan, but it's actually olive green. It's weird.
Yeah, that looks tan to me, QB. Maybe your lighting is a little off.
Maybe.
I'll tell you another one. Since I told you about the Houston Texans, these guys right here, I don't think have a chance. I think the Rams are toast. And the reason why I say that isn't because of necessarily how great the Bears are. I think the conditions are going to be horrible for the Rams to play in with the way they play. And I don't think up on the line of scrimmage they'll stop Chicago. I think they'll get beat there. So if you're really looking at a game that you may want to say this underdog is way too live to be a 3.5-point underdog. I say you look at those Chicago Bears. And if you want, and we'll talk about this tomorrow at 8:30, but if you want to tease that and get the Bears up to 9.5 or 10 in that building against that team in that weather where it's going to feel like 6 below zero QB, the Rams aren't going to be able to function in that. I just don't.
All right. Do you believe try to make yourself believe that.
You think it's not going to matter?
No, dude. I still think the Rams are the best team in football.
I hope you're right because they're my favorite team, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Look, the cold weather ain't going to have a damn factor in this game.
How do you figure when it's going to blow 10 to 20 miles an hour?
Okay, well, last time I checked, it's going to the wind and all that's going to blow for the Chicago Bears too. Okay.
Well,
And let me tell you something. The ball that Matthew Stafford throws will go right through the wind.
oh,
The dude can flat out throw the
all
football.
right. You're making me feel a little better.
I love the Rams. I still think they're going to the freaking Super Bowl.
You make me feel better about this.
Yeah.
Well, they could have been playing San Francisco at home, but Green Bay really.
They actually got the better draw.
They did. They don't have to play Seattle until
They don't have to play Seattle or San Fran.
Well, right. No, because the Packers lost. If the Packers beat Chicago, they would have played San Fran this week. So,
Yeah.
but they would have played them at home. But the Packers choked. Matt LaFleur is a choker. He doesn't win the big games. Might be a great offensive play caller, but damn, he does not win the big games at Green Bay. So,
Did the players have anything to do with that?
yeah, they did.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they were really, 21-3 QB. Come on, bro. Can't lose that.
Yeah, MSRK brings up a good point here. He says the Rams special teams
Oh, they're
are
awful.
bad. They're terrible.
Oh, they're
We fired
awful.
a coach. They got a punt block the other day with the new coach.
Yeah, he's right.
Their special teams could be the reason they don't make it to the Super Bowl, but
That's right.
hopefully Sean McVay gets that figured out.
Well, it's about time he does because we're running out. The season's ending here. So I hope he does, and I hope the Rams can pull it off. But the Bears are a great story, and if you're objective about it and you don't have a favorite horse in this race, how can you not root for the Chicago Bears and this new coach and what he's brought to the Chicagoland area? You know more than any of us about that area and about playing for the Chicago Bears. It's just been rough, man. It's been really bad. But they got the better of their biggest rival in the last 2 games they played against them within the last month. They beat the Packers twice, and they did it in a heartbreaking fashion. I think it's wonderful for the Bears, but we'll see. You don't think the weather's going to matter? I don't know about that.
Well, JC, again, the weather is more of a factor for the people sitting in the stands for 4 hours than it is for the players. The players have plenty of gear to wear. They have heaters. They have heated benches. They have the hot packs in their little pouches. Once you get the blood flowing, it won't matter.
Okay.
All right. Chris has a question on YouTube brought to you by quality.
I mean, you did play in Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Chicago, so I guess
Everywhere I played was cold.
you have and Carolina, but you do have you have a little experience.
Yeah. Is it fun? No, it's not fun. But once you get in there, it doesn't matter. His question is, do y'all think Brian Kelly gets a call for any of these NFL openings? His jackassness seems to fit NFL more than college.
Jackasses. Well,
Not even a word.
we can make it one. I like that word. Good call there. That's funny. Let's see. AU Gator. Good thing TVs are cheap. I saw on Vivid Seats tickets for the Natty are $3,000 and up. JC can get a suite for 1.1 mil. Yeah, I tell you, this is all about the big money that couldn't care less about football, wanting to be at the big event on a Monday night. And that's what that's about. And I don't know. It's too bad the Indiana Hoosier fans are going to have to pay out of their nose to come to this game for their first championship ever. But it is in Miami, and that's a glamour spot, bro. That's like going to LA or Vegas or something like that. So it's going to be expensive, and you got this damn home team playing, bro.
You know what I was thinking? I'm glad you brought that up. I was meant to bring it up the other day. I want to say Miami and UCLA are the only teams in America that have an opportunity to at some point play for the national title in their home ballpark. Would that be correct, you think, JC?
Yeah, I think it would if you consider the Rose Bowl UCLA's home field, which it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's
I don't think any of the other venues.
No, I don't think either. I think you're right. No, the Georgia Dome or Mercedes is not the home field for anybody. Indianapolis is not a home field for anybody. The Arlington Stadium in Dallas, or where the Cowboys play, that's not a home field for anybody. So you're probably right. That's a good observation. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Andy wanted me to
I do
explain.
think UCLA is looking at options of potentially not playing in the Rose Bowl anymore and playing at SoFi because it's closer. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
They already have like 2,500 people show up. It's going to look really bad at SoFi.
It sure is.
Andy wanted me to explain. Let me see if I can pull it up here. We got JP Shadrick from the Jags, but he also works for Westwood One. I'll get his thoughts on the championship game and also playoffs. He'll come up here the second portion of today's program.
Ask him if he's laying 9 with Indiana. I just got to know who's doing that.
Okay, I'll ask him, JC.
Yeah, please do. What else matters, really?
Andy wants to, can you explain the Bears-Packers rivalry when you were in Chicago? Look, it's a tremendous rivalry. I think what makes that game, obviously those franchises are so old, right? They're two of the first ever. But what's interesting is you got major big city versus
college town,
small ass market. I'm talking
college town.
There's nothing like, I'm telling you, if people that like to travel around to these type of venues, if you don't go to Lambeau Field, if it's not on your bucket list, there's something wrong, because it's the best venue in all of professional football. It is in the middle of a neighborhood. It's crazy. It's like driving through JC's Hale Plantation, and then there's a 75,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, it's a college town, right? I mean, it's what, 150,000 people?
If that, I don't even know. You can't even stay in Green Bay. Right. You have to stay in another town like the size of Stark called Appleton. That's where the visiting teams stay, and then you bus in. But I think it's such an old historical rivalry game.
Well, it's been one-sided, QB, for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay. I mean, they've had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. That's all you need.
That's all you need to know. Yeah, and that's why Ben Johnson said after the game, says, I don't like them. Now, I don't know where that came from, but as a Bear, man, he is making people happy in that town. And he could run for mayor in Chicago right now.
Yeah. Text on the Titan Bar text on Kevin. He says, QB, is there any reason why the head ball coach changed the Redskins helmets to the spear? He didn't have anything to do with that. That was a year, maybe 75 years of the Redskins. I don't remember what it was, but it was a throwback uniform.
Yeah.
It was a cool uniform. I ain't gonna lie.
It was a throwback. I liked it when they had the yellow hats with the red R in the circle. I kind of liked that.
Yeah.
But I wish they would go back to what their real name is. But I guess the pressure and really it's amazing because the Indian tribe is insulted that the old helmet isn't their helmet. They want that back.
I have a lot of Cherokee Indian in me, and my people, we don't give a damn.
No,
it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's a control thing. I don't know what to think about that. I don't know why the new ownership won't. I mean, Commanders really. But really anyway,
really
it's really dumb. You're right. So,
all right. So here's the Florida Gator football schedule.
Oh, good.
Florida Atlantic, win. The Campbells, win. At Auburn, win. The Rebels come into town, win. At Missouri, win. South Carolina home, win. That's 6. At Texas, I'm gonna go loss, 6-1. Georgia, I'm gonna just say that's a loss. That's 2, 6-2. Oklahoma comes to our ballpark, we win that one. 7-2. At Kentucky, Will Stein and his new offense. It'll be 8, 9. I got us going 10-2. That will change.
Oh, hell yeah.
That will change.
Why not, QB? I mean, but going through that schedule does sound a little bit friendlier with the home games, especially. In fact, you got Auburn instead of LSU. Now, I don't know Ole Miss, what I'm not sure what they're going to have without Chambliss now. So I think
I bet he wins his appeal. He's going to
well,
sue and he's going
okay.
to win.
If he's playing for them, I'm not ready to count that as a win.
I agree. I agree.
He's just that good.
I
He's just
agree.
that good. But listen, I like I like the way you're thinking. And,
Yeah.
and you know that Georgia game, man. What they won by 4 this year against Florida. So it's is that right? Was it a 4-point game?
Something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's always going to be most of the time anyway. I'd say 90% of the time it's going to be a real knuckler, white knuckler. But Florida State, not worried about them. You got those scrubs, FAU and Campbell. There you go. You got, I just Kentucky, for whatever reason, Florida struggles with Kentucky.
Kentucky's going to be better with Will Stein.
They should be better. Yeah, they should be better. That game's in Lexington, right? So,
yeah.
But is Tennessee on that schedule? Did I hear Tennessee?
No.
Right. So you're getting rid of LSU and Tennessee, and you're adding Auburn. You're keeping Kentucky and Mississippi. Now, Mississippi, we don't know what's going to be their status, but I think the schedule is very, very friendly. I do.
Meopolitan Cafe, we love Gator basketball so much. Everyone at the O-Dome gets a free empanada when the opposing team misses 2 consecutive free throws in the second half.
That's awesome. You know who loves the Gators? I'm telling you, and is Jay Billis. And he's Mr. Basketball Authority, right? He loves the Gators. You look at this front court, Hanlockton, Condon, Hawk, Chinyelu. Man, this team is just warming up, bro. I'm getting more and more bullish on the Gators. I had no question in my mind they were going to blow out Oklahoma. That is not a home court advantage in any stretch of the imagination. It was
playing. We tested this weekend. We play undefeated Vanderbilt.
That is exactly right. That is going to be a test. Absolutely right. Yeah. Vandy is just, whatever's happened in that athletic department, whoever that AD is.
I'm going to come out on a limb right now, JC.
What a
I have not looked at Vanderbilt's football schedule next year.
Okay.
They're not going to be very good next year is my prediction.
Well, I'm sure when you lose a player like that, you're not going to be the same team. But their baseball program has been phenomenal. Their basketball program is so much better without that bum Stackhouse. He was awful. And this kid, Byington, Eric, what's his name? Mike Byington.
You know where he came from, JC?
He is outstanding as a coach.
You know where he came from?
I don't.
Think about this. This is year 2 for him at Vanderbilt. How many years has Kurt Zanetti been at Indiana?
2.
They both came from James Madison.
Damn, really?
Yep.
What a powerhouse, James.
They were there at the same time.
What a powerhouse. Well, this guy's done great things at Vanderbilt, and that team is tough, man. I saw them just wipe the floor with Alabama. It was a good game. It wasn't a wipe the floor job. It was a tight game. But they beat Alabama in Vandy now, and they're undefeated. Nebraska is undefeated. I think we have 6 undefeateds left. Something like that.
All right, JC, real quick, we got about 2 minutes before we get to JP Shadrick. We're going to do our Peachland Dental golf picks for the Sony Open. We're going to just pick 2 players because we're not prepared. We're not prepared.
Well, maybe on Win with JC, you'll get more information on it.
Okay, well, we can pick 3 golfers in. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to take Aaron Rye.
Why are you taking him?
Well, why not? I mean, I just saw his name pop up here, and it seems like he makes every cut there is.
Yeah, he is always in the tournament. Okay, give me Denny McCarthy.
Okay, I want Russell Henley.
All right, Henley. I'm going to take McCarthy, and then I'm going to take Kitayama.
Kurt Kitayama. How many you've picked? 2?
Yeah, I picked 2. You picked 2. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to pick one more, and I'm going to take Rico Hoy.
What?
Yeah.
Hoy?
Hoey. Rico Hoy.
That's funny. All right, my final pick. This is right off the cuff, folks. Don't hold us to this. This is hard. We didn't really look at this hardly at all. So I'm going to go with Goddard.
All right, Chris Goddard, Oklahoma Center.
Good player. All right, man.
All right, JC. We'll see you tomorrow here on JC Wins Millions
at 8:30. And then back on Friday to get ready for these games. We'll talk about them tomorrow at 8:30. Zach and I will do that, and we'll try to get you set up for some winners just like we did with the Texans and the Gators, and hopefully we'll have some local headlines with the basketball.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by JP Shadrick. Get his thoughts on NFL, college, And if you got any other questions, you're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
On April 7th, 2025, Gator Nation reached the mountaintop as Florida won the national championship in basketball. Now, relive every thrilling moment with Franz Beard's new book, The Golden Season, the unforgettable story behind Florida's historic 2025 title run. Feel the passion, the drama, and the glory all over again. Available now at Spurriers.com. Click the shop tab. That's Spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Castaway Hot Sauce Company, from mile to wild. They have a flavor for every Gator fan, available at your local Publix. Check them out, CastawaySauceCompany.com. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by our man, JP Shadrick, who does a little bit of everything. Works for the Jags, Westwood One, Touchdown Radio. He does it all. What's up, JP? How you doing, buddy?
Shane, how are you, man? From mild to wild. I love
Yeah, you
that
like that?
tagline. That's awesome, man. I want to go buy some of that stuff. That's
There you
the
go.
market. Sponsorship works. It really does. I love that. No, doing well. It's, football season's over for the Jaguars, unfortunately, but the playoffs are always a fun time, and this is a really exciting time of year, both college and pro football.
Well, let's just start with the Jags. Obviously, hard way to end the season. They had a hell of a year. But it's Josh Allen being Josh Allen. Looking to next year, in your opinion, what do you think the Jags need to do from a roster addition or subtraction? What do they need to do to take that next step?
Yeah, and real quickly on that game, I mean, they had no pass rush on Josh Allen. I mean, he would run around and do his thing, and they would hit him when he ran. That's where he got dinged up a little bit in the knee injury and the obviously falling through in a pass. They only hit him, I think, officially in the pocket twice all day. So that was a real issue for the Jags defense, especially late in the game. They just couldn't get to him. And then the offense, Trevor Lawrence, after some issues early in the game, found his sea legs and drove them down the field in the second half 3 times, and twice in the fourth quarter, led them to drives that gave them the lead. So you can't fault Trevor Lawrence. He did his thing. But to go back to the priority, it goes back to the first thing. And I think they need a real twitchy edge rush guy, a couple of those guys. They don't have anybody that can bend and just that's what they do. Josh Hines Allen's good, and he's close with pressures. Trayvon Walker's really strong as a defensive end, a bully in the run game, but they don't have a pure edge rusher, and they need 1 or 2 of those guys. They got to find that. I think they're going to have guys coming back off injury in the secondary that they're happy about. Obviously, Travis Hunter missed the rest of the season with a knee injury. He's slated to be okay by the offseason program, but I don't think they're going to rush him. And then Caleb Ransaw, a guy they drafted last year, was hurt in training camp and never saw the field this year, and they feel like he's going to be a key contributor at the safety spot for them. So those are guys coming back. And then on offense, we'll see what happens with ETN. His contract's up. I don't know if they're going to pay him. They're pretty happy with the receiver core, the work they did this season to make it what it was. Jacoby Myers just got an extension. What's Brian Thomas Jr.'s story? Like, he's still under contract, but is he movable? There's a lot of questions for this team, and they won 13 games. That doesn't mean they've arrived. That means they get to start over and do it again next year. And this is James Gladstone, the GM season now.
Liam Cohen, what a hell of a year he did in year one. What kind of guy is he, JP? I've never met him, but he just seems like he'd be a good guy to play for.
He's a good guy to do pretty much anything around. I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, he is this is my sixth head coach in 14 seasons, so do the math on that. They're all competitors, right? You're not in this business if you're not, but it is a different level of just pure competitive spirit. And I don't think he turns it off. I think he keeps a list of every slight or grievance that he's ever had in his life, and he has it, and he remembers it, and he uses it as some kind of fuel, not only for him but for his team. And then, of course, when the bullets aren't flying and it's not live action, he can come back down to earth and be a real human being, and he's really approachable. And I that's the great question, Shane, right? When you first take a head coaching job, can you stand in front of a room and keep the attention of the team? Will they believe in you and follow you? And you just don't know until you do it. But there's a reason why Tampa didn't want him to go. We're finding out now. They loved him, and they did not want him to get free out of that building just in case something happens in the future there. I would imagine he would have been on the short list to get that gig at some point. But he's here, and we see now what he can do in front of a room. He's 40, he just turned 40. It's a more of a youthful exuberance compared to some of the past coaches that were around here that were kind of wrapped in their older ways. And I mean, he's a quarterback too, so he's got all those intangibles. And I love sitting with the guy every Friday morning. We do an interview Friday morning, and it's a real pleasure to have him here, and he's worked out fantastic for Shad Khan and this team.
No doubt. Text on the Titan Mar text line from Daryl says, do you think the Jaguars re-signed Devin Lloyd?
It's a good question. I mean, he had a fantastic season, and unfortunately, it's really his only good season in 4 years here. They didn't take the fifth-year option, so his contract is up. I'm of the thought that you don't pay a linebacker for 1 year of interception production. I know it was a productive year. Can he do it again? And he kind of, there were moments second half of the season where he, wasn't doing a whole lot in terms of that. He was around the ball a lot early in the year. I'll give you that. Second team All Pro. I just don't see him spending that kind of money on him because they got some other things they got to figure out too. And it's unfortunate because he's a fantastic guy and has turned into a good player this season because he's finally been cashed the right way. Does he take a friendlier deal to stick around, or the Jags just done with him? It's a great question. This group didn't draft him, so they're not attached to him. Even if they draft him, they don't really care about that anymore. If there's somebody better, they're going to put him on the field. So I don't think there's any ties to Devin, and we'll see what happens. I think he's going to go free.
I was going to ask you about Tony Baselli now in the front office, being a former player and an outstanding one at that. I always feel like players sometimes can evaluate other players better than the people in the front office, right? Sometimes they take chances on these guys. Do you think having Tony there with the additions that they made in the offseason really helped by him being a former player?
There's a little of that. I could see that, especially in offensive line play. I mean, as somebody who's been in that before and understands assignments and all the intricacies of what those guys do up front, it's really deep, and you don't really know it unless you've been in it. So I think that has helped James Gladstone evaluate linemen a little bit differently, maybe. or have a different ear to listen or to talk to, or bounce ideas off of. And I mean, that's Tony's role, is that he's here to help James Gladstone and Liam Cohen. So he basically is in charge of everything else that's not coaching players and picking players in the draft and free agency. However, he can assist in all matters. Like, he's around, he's in the room with those guys. So he's an advisor, a very trusted advisor for both of those parts of the building. But everything else in the building reports to Tony Baselli. The strength staff, the travel people, the equipment staff, medical, it all funnels in the chain of command to Tony, and those three are at the top of the organization over their respective parts of it. But he is there, he's in the room. They give him, I'm sure they give him assignments to go look at players and, what do you think about this tape or this prospect or whatever. And he's a pig in slop right now, Shane. He loves it. I mean, this is what he was built for.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's talk about the AFC moving forward in the playoffs. You saw up close and personal the Houston Texans twice this year. Some people talk about how great their defense is. And what's amazing to me, JP, I don't get to watch the tape or stuff, just watch it on TV. But everybody says they just line up in the same defense every play and just perform very well. Whereas people talk about the New England Patriots defense, that even these guys that have played in the league a long time can't even tell on every snap what coverage they're in because they disguise so well. How good is this Texans defense?
Well, they're number one in the league in total D and a bunch of other categories they rank very highly. They have no regard for life. They don't care. I mean, that might be overselling it a little bit, Shane, but they are going to hit you, and they're going to hit you with the echo of the whistle, and they're going to push you around, and they're going to tell you about it, and they're going to line up, like you said, in the same defense and do it again and again and again and again. And it's annoying, and it's what it is. It's just how they play. They are stacked, and that's DeMeco Ryans' imprint on that defense. I mean, obviously a former Alabama linebacker, long time in the league, long time coordinator. It's his group, and they have his personality, and it shows. Now, the season turned that second Texans game. Jaguars were in Houston. The Jags had a 19-point lead on the Texans going into the fourth quarter. Blew the lead to Davis Mills, the backup quarterback, and lost the game. Well, neither the Texans nor the Jaguars lost the rest of the way. The Texans won that game, the first of their 9 straight to end the season, and the Jags won the next week and never lost. They won the next 8 to win the division. I mean, that turned the mindset of both teams, and there you go. I mean, that Jags had them on the ropes and could have knocked them out there. You might not have seen this run from Houston, but they found some confidence, and here they are. And that's not a team you want to mess around with. Their offense is gettable. Their defense is really, really tough. And I'm not going to rank it historically, but I don't want to play them in playoffs.
So looking at the AFC, as of today, who do you think wins the AFC?
I mean, it is wide open right now, Shane. It is, I mean, as wide open as we've seen in about 15 years. I mean, you got to remember, too, that for 14 straight AFC championship games, he featured either the Patriots with Belichick and Brady or the Chiefs with Reed and Mahomes. In one instance, they played each other. Well, those two dynasties are not involved in this. Patriots are in it, but it's a new world. It is anybody's game. Denver is gettable, too. Now, everybody talks about the home field of Denver and all these things. Their defense is good, too. The Jags went out there and just beat the hell out of them. So that's not an impossible task. It is a tough environment, and that home field does matter, I think, for a lot of teams. So they'll be right there in it. I mean, if the Bills are going to do it, can Josh Allen be Superman for 3 more weeks by himself? He doesn't throw to anybody. There's nobody to throw to.
Didn't they have another receiver go out with an ACL?
Yeah. Like, who's left?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, maybe this is the magical run for him. And, the Patriots, honestly, I haven't seen enough of the Patriots to give you a full assessment of what they're about. But I think the Broncos and the Bills, maybe this is their magical run year. But it would be an all-timer with no receivers on the field.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Josh Allen, but like you said, they've been depleted at the skill position. From the NFC standpoint, I still think the Rams are the best team in football. I don't know why I think that. Who do you think comes out of the NFC?
Well, I mean, the Rams destroyed the Jaguars in London. That was like 30 something to 7. It was a horrible day. And then Matt Stafford threw 5 touchdown passes in the game, 3 of those to Devontae Adams. I mean, it was a bludgeoning at Wembley. It was nasty. So they have the ability to do that because they've got the receiver, and they did that without Puka Nacua in the game. They threw to 10 other guys that day, including 4 tight ends, and just showed off the entire offensive array of weapons they had. But so they have that ability, and they've got some veteran defensive players, linemen especially. The Bears are a fun story. I mean, how far can they run this thing with Caleb Williams, first year coach? Excited to see that. The team, I mean, yeah, and it's not just because they're at home, but the Seahawks are really good on defense too. That front 7 can play, and Jaguars had firsthand look at that one too. Obviously going up to Seattle is never easy for anybody, and everybody's going to have to go through there. So I think it's between the Seahawks and the Rams, which is fitting because that division was one of the best, if not the best, in football all season long. So I could see one of those two getting it.
All right, let's switch gears to college football. We got the national championship game Monday night, Indiana, Miami. You also call a lot of college games on Saturday nights. The Indiana story is, I still believe it's the greatest story in my lifetime, what they're doing. How you like this game shaping out?
It's a pretty good story. Yeah, I didn't have Indiana firsthand this year. I had Miami twice. I had them week 1 against Notre Dame, and then a few weeks after that against you guys, the Gators. And they can run the ball. I mean, they have big, physical, nasty offensive linemen, like 330-pound dudes across the line who've played a lot of football, and they want to set the tone with that. And they've got the freshman receiver who is fantastic, who we saw all of a sudden in the Notre Dame game. It's like, oh, this is the freshman from down the road here. He's all over the field. He's doing everything. And they've got the swagger back. You know all about the Miami swagger. Yeah. It's just like permeates through from the alumni into the team. Not quite like the old days, but they feel like they're back. But Indiana's playing what we saw for years in Tuscaloosa. Joyless murder ball is what they call it there. And it is just physically dominating teams, putting pressure on opposing offenses when you're up by 3 or 4 scores, continuing to blitz guys. I mean, he does not take the foot off the accelerator. And I don't know if they can be stopped. I really don't. Their offensive line are maulers too. I mean, they gave the Rose Bowl MVP to the offensive line and the linemen. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. And this is going to be a slugfest. I don't know if it's super high scoring and all that, but there's going to be some carnage left on the field after this one.
Agree. Andy's question for you, JP, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. What kind of NFL career do you think Fernando Mendoza will have?
I mean, that's a good one. You just don't know. Like what? Obviously, he's a really good leader of a team. Clearly, he's well spoken in the media and everything that goes with that. He's been in the spotlight for a little bit, so that's cool. I don't know. I mean, you just don't know. What do you think, Shane? I mean,
I think out of all the, I don't have all the draft class in front of me. You're going into the draft. He would probably be the guy that I would take because I think he's extremely intelligent, extremely accurate, great leader. You can tell he puts the work in that you need from the mental standpoint. He throws completions. JP, I like guys that throw completions. I don't care about these guys that can run around and can complete one ball out of every 10 throws.
Oh, see, now this is the old school football creeping in, Shane. You need some mobility these days.
Well, no, I have no problem with mobility because he can move around. Like right. I think the world of Trinidad Chambliss. I think he can play in the league, but I don't think Dante Moore can play in the league.
Yeah.
Because I think Dante Moore, he reminds me of Justin Fields for some reason. I don't know why.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, a couple things before we get you out of here. Chris on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, speaking of general managers, how does JP feel about the Gators' new general manager, Dave Caldwell?
I think Dave's a great guy, and I think he was up here in Jacksonville because he was working for the Eagles remotely and doing a bunch of assignments for them over the last few years. So Dave was here for a long time with the Jaguars, obviously, and was trying to retool things here. They tore it down to the studs back in 2013 when he got the job. Long time with the Falcons before that, and he'll be a quality addition to that organization, and it's funny. It's like this is happening everywhere. Everybody needs somebody who's handled a payroll slash roster before to figure out life in college football now. It's kind of morphed and blurred the lines between the two when there in the past was a definitive difference in the way the operations were handled. So I think you're going to see this more and more everywhere. I mean, you're already seeing it at all these places. Somebody who's handled it, and I think he'll handle it just fine. Still got to get the players to come in to play. That's the trick too. But at least when they're in there, they'll have the money in the right spots, and they'll have the roster spots that they need filled.
All right, last thing here, text on the Titan Moore text line from George. He says, JP, what do we have to do to get Fred Taylor into the Hall of Fame?
Get on the selection committee and get a vote. I mean, that's what's left. I mean, that's all you can do at this point. He's right there on the doorstep. He didn't get in the finals this year, which is an odd step back. That's unfortunate because usually once you're in the room, as they say, so to speak, you kind of stay in that room until you're in or you're phased out. Seeing him not in the finals is an interesting take. So curious what that means for the future going ahead. The only running back in the finals this year is Frank Gore. And he's there because he's like the third leading rusher all time. I mean, that makes sense. But Fred is deserving. Absolutely is deserving. I know he's been frustrated with the process. He just kind of took a step back on this one. It's like it's hard to get upset because you can't control it.
Right.
You played your position at the highest level you could for a long time, and that the record has to reflect it, and we'll see what happens. I mean, he's the hay's in the barn for him. You can't do anything else. You can politic all day long till you're blue in the face, but they get the votes in the room.
Yeah, hopefully it'll all work out at some point. JP, great stuff as always. Appreciate your time. I know you've been busy, been a long year, and bright things are ahead for the Jaguars, though. There's no question about that.
No doubt. The future is bright. We're going to hear from Liam Cohen and James Gladstone today. They're doing an end of season press conference. So we'll get a good idea about what the future holds in the next few months. And now it's vacation time. So that's okay. It's never hard though. I mean, it's for goodness sakes, we work at a stadium. Like and sometimes multiple stadiums in 3 days, which is cool.
Very true. Enjoy your vacation. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
See you, Shane. Appreciate it.
That's JP Shadrick. Join us on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp Silverback Concrete, builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Again, thanks to JP and JC for joining the program today. We'll be here tomorrow, folks. Have a great day. See you then. Take care.